I don't have no.
And welcome back to Luminary Leaders Live. My name is Shelly Harrison. I'm your host. So excited because I have been off the LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube with my lives, and we're coming back big and strong. And today I have a fantastic guest who I've been connecting with on LinkedIn, and you see him here in the broadcast next to me. I want to welcome Tony Taylor onto Luminary Leaders Live. Tony, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing, even better now that I'm on here with you. It's good to
Oh,
finally catch up with you. Thanks for having me on.
yeah. Yes, and I know you're doing some phenomenal work with a lot of different speakers, and you have your own podcast show. We're going to get into that, and you are obsessed with helping people overcome their fear of public speaking. So what I'd like to start with, Tony, is let's have you tell a little bit about yourself to our audience and what ignites you.
Ooh, that's a good question. I
Cool.
love that. What ignites me? What
Yeah.
ignites me is people. I love people. That's been a commonality throughout my entire life. No matter what job I had, what school I went to, it was all
Yeah.
about the people. So a little bit about me. I joined the Marine Corps at the age of 18. Got out of the Marine Corps. Realized that there wasn't enough opportunities for veterans for whatever reason I had in my, I'm not going to say whatever reason. I know what the reason was. The recruiter
Yeah.
tell you when you join the military, son, when you get out, you're going to have the jobs lined up for you. That didn't happen. I ended up joining the military again, and then finally got out as Department of Defense. Finally got out and took a job as a Department of Defense firefighter. Got out of that and worked my way up in safety, only to realize that this dream that I've been chasing this whole time with switching jobs and switching
Mm.
careers, I finally realized that commonality, and the commonality was people. I was miserable. I was working as a vice president at the time. I called my wife and I said, um, "Hey, this isn't what I thought it was going to be." And for the first time
Mhm.
in my life, I did not give a 2 weeks notice. She said, "Baby, pack up your stuff and come home." I did it. I started my business. Things have been phenomenal. It seems like as soon as I clicked the button that said I'm in business,
Oh,
I'm
how
in business.
exciting.
Yeah, it seemed like it
That
grew, and
yeah.
the pandemic helped our business out quite a bit, and that's what kind of leads me to right now. I'm still speaking full time. I have the podcast, but I'm also helping other people uh, that have a fear of public speaking overcome that fear or master
Mm.
that fear. And it could be whether it's an interview, it could be a promotion board, it could be just having a tough conversation. And I'm really proud of the work that we're doing because we're helping people all across the world.
And you are. And, a couple of things. I know you're coming to us from Olympia, Washington. So we want to give your state a shout out. And I
Uh-oh.
want to, yeah. And I want to thank you, Tony, because, as a veteran, I am a co-director for the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. So we applaud you. We know what your family had to go through. And thank you for your service because, we can't tell you enough how much we appreciate that and helping to keep us protected with freedom. So thank you for that. We appreciate.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So you were a veteran as well?
No,
Which
but I support veterans, and
awesome.
I work with the actually Joseph Molina. We'll give him a shout out. He's our executive director. So there's another radio show that we need to get you on. Is the National Veterans Radio Show. I host that too. So we'll get you on that show next time, and we'll reach out to the veteran community.
Let's make it
Yeah.
happen. I love my veteran community. Let's make it
Yeah.
happen.
Oh, I'm sure you do. And, I'm excited because, here you, like you said, you flipped the switch, went into business. And what was that like for you? I mean, here you were in the military for quite some time, and starting your own business. What were some of those things that you experienced in the very beginning?
I would say a lot of. I wish I can flip my camera around. Well, I can't. I guess you can't see the whiteboard, but
Oh,
I'm very creative, and I have all these different ideas, right?
yeah.
And one thing I noticed with those ideas, you have to have a concept. It can't just be
Hmm.
splattered all over the place. I'm still like that, right? I write them down, but the ones
Yeah.
that I act on is, has to be beneficial to the business. I would say that's the one of the biggest hurdles that I have, because when you're in the military, you're you're in you have these restraints,
Yeah.
and you're going to be one type of way. The mission is always the same, right? There's some
Mm.
days that I didn't even remember going to work because it's autopilot, right? And
Mhm.
it's just, you can just do it and still be, and still perform at a pretty high level. So
Yeah.
this is different, having your own business and having to, basically learn, hey, you know what? No, that's been the best word that I've ever learned as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur is no, because I'm one of those fools that say yes to everything because I'm inspired by a lot of stuff.
Well, it must
But
be that infectious smile because you're so likable. And
oh,
I have to say that when we first met on LinkedIn, you have over almost 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I'm always impressed with people that have that many followers, because whether you know them or not, you're really engaged with your audience, and I think that's to be applauded, because you're doing great work, Tony. And here you are, you're an accomplished author. Give us the name of your books, and I also want the name of your radio show or podcast show.
yeah. So the podcast is Leaders Lead. The podcast. Normally, I'll have like a QR code or something floating around, but
Yeah.
Leaders Lead the podcast. What I do is I interview amazing people like yourself,
Oh,
people that are industry leaders that have overcome some insurmountable obstacles or
yeah.
odds. And at first, it was just like, okay, I'm going to talk about leadership. That's all I'm going to talk about. But I was just like, oh my God,
Then
there's
it
a
expands.
commonality. Yeah, I'm like, there's a
Yeah.
commonality. And I would find myself sobbing sometimes listening to the
Oh,
stories. And
yeah. Oh gosh,
uh,
I feel you. Oh, I know
yes,
that. Oh, I know that feeling.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, and the book is the same. I don't want to peddle my book on your show, but um, the book is the same, and it's called
Well, show us. Yeah.
yeah, it's called A Lion's Pride,
Oh.
Scars That Silence Kings. And if you could look at this
Mm.
lion, his eye is all mangled, and
Oh
he's
gosh.
just, you could just tell he's just been through some stuff.
Yeah.
But the anthologist put this together. So anthology is a book
Mm.
of 10 other stories. You don't know who's telling the story, because they have, it's lion one, lion two. I'll tell you, I'm lion 10 in
Lion
this book.
10.
I had a whole bunch. This is my first book
Oh,
ever.
how
Um,
exciting for you, though.
I was so
That's
afraid to
exciting.
write it. I didn't start writing it until the day that it was due, because I had
Mm.
even though my work is in fear, but I
Yeah.
still had these limiting beliefs in myself. So
Mm.
I did it, and it was so cathartic. I cried like a baby writing this book.
Oh,
Um, and so I'm happy.
lots of Kleenex.
Yep, it's a number
Yeah,
one new release on Amazon, and I think
that's
we're number
fantastic.
3 for bestsellers. So I'm
Wow,
really proud of that.
congratulations. Yeah,
Thank
and I
you.
know we actually had congrats, amazing story. Thank you for your service. Veteran myself, and my daughter, who's 17, has a nonprofit for veterans with trauma.
Oh, wow.
So, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Arlie. Arlie, thank you so much
Harley.
for tuning in and watching, and thank you for your service too. How
Yes.
wonderful! And your daughter, my gosh, that's amazing, fantastic. Thank you. And then now back to you, Tony. So we talked a little bit earlier about public speaking, and your fear when you first started. There was something that happened. Tell us that story.
Ooh, there's a
Ooh.
bunch. There's a
What's the
bunch.
one? I mean, believe me, I know we can have
Yeah.
long going conversations because you're so much fun to talk with. But think about the one that really resonates and would help our audience. How about that?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of background with me. I've always had this fear of public speaking, and it's not just like getting on a
Yeah.
stage, but when I was a kid, it was going to the blackboard. It was reading out loud. It was in
Oh,
social settings, and even at the time, I had no idea that I even had that fear. I just knew I felt different, and I knew I didn't like doing it, but I hadn't really addressed the fear and said, okay, this is a fear
yeah.
that I have.
A genuine fear.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no idea until, as an adult, I'm getting in front of people and I'm like, okay, why am I sweating like this?
Yes.
Why do I feel
Oh
like
my gosh.
this?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's just like, but I love talking. I've always loved talking, especially, when I was a kid.
Mhm.
But there was this one moment where I was working as a safety director for a company, and it was during COVID. It was at the beginning. No, it wasn't COVID.
Oh,
Um, it was another disaster.
a
But I
pandemic or
was,
something.
yeah, yeah, or another
Yeah.
pandemic, something, right? But what happened was I was telling these folks, because I would call my wife and I would be like, oh my God, I got to get in front of them. I hope I'm ready. And I would just kind of go through all of this stuff because I cared so
Yeah.
much. I wanted them to get the information. But for whatever reason, they were being told not to tell me about injuries and stuff like that, which is, we all know that that's illegal. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I stood up in front of everybody and I said, hey, if anybody, fires you because you came and you told me about, something that you were going through in your department that you feel like it's unsafe, or right, and even stepping out of my lane, or you feel like somebody is mistreating you here in this facility, then you let me know. I happen to know a whole bunch of people, amazing people on LinkedIn that would love nothing but more than ever to hire you and maybe hire me as a bonus. So
Oh,
I said, I swear to God, I'll do a campaign and I'll just be going
oh,
hard for months. And that's what
oh
I
my
just, I
gosh.
just went crazy.
Oh,
And as soon as I got done, I got off my soapbox. They clapped for me, which I thought was really weird because they hate those meetings. And then this
oh,
lady comes up to me and she says, Tony, she says, dude, I was going to quit my job today, and
oh,
and I'm like, you're going to quit your job? You're taking care of. She was taking care of her mom's family, her sister's family,
oh my
and
goodness.
she was the
Yeah.
breadwinner. And I said, so what does that mean? And she goes, you don't want to know what that means. So,
Mm.
make a long story short, she was going to go home and she was gonna take her life, but
Wow.
because of
Oh, I
the
just got
things
the
that
chills. Yeah.
yeah, because of
Yeah.
the things that I said, the things that, I don't
Oh,
even know if it was coming from me or if it was coming from I feel like it was coming
a
from
higher power.
someplace else. Definitely, because I'm
Oh,
not that articulate. I feel like God uses me, and He
yeah.
used me for that moment to teach, to tell her her life was precious, and also to let me know that that I need to use my voice, and that's what I need to do
Yes.
full time. And
Oh, what a great
yeah,
story. I mean, when you think about you saved a life with words that were meaningful and heartfelt, and it came from you any way you look at it. But in the same token, there could have been something that was really pushing you in a direction that was going to save someone that day.
yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you for
what a
saying that.
great
I appreciate
story.
it. Yeah,
Gosh, that's what it's all about, right? We were talking earlier. It's like, gosh, when you do these interviews, sometimes you really get into the story and the person, and you can have tears, you can have chills, and there's so many different reactions that you can get. And I'll tell you, you really left an impression on me, Tony, because
well,
your smile, and when I looked at, all the followers that you have, and I look at the way that you do your posts, and when we first started and you sent me a personalized, not written, but you spoke into LinkedIn, into the feature that's on there. And you said, you know what, let's just do it the old fashioned way. Let's just pick up the phone. And I really appreciate that, because that's something that, why can't we just pick up the phone, right?
I know. There's something really special about that, and some of my closest like friends right now, that
Mm.
that happened just from doing that. I mean, if
Yeah.
I look at my LinkedIn, like the people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn, a lot of them, they are like for real. They've been there for me. I would say even more than sometimes like family. I've had
Yeah. Oh, I
conversations with
see it. I see
people.
the comments.
Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah.
where
You
I,
definitely are
yeah,
admired.
I'll
Yeah.
have people that'll attack me on the internet, and then all of a
Oh,
sudden you see, but that's
yeah.
because we have
Spears.
those, yeah, we have those
Yeah.
relationships where they're asking me for advice, and I'm like, dude, I don't know, that's freaking heavy, or I'm asking them
Yeah.
for advice. It's a real like my mentor always says that and I used to think that was corny when I first heard it, but I get it now. Like there's unity there's unity and community, and that's one thing
Yeah.
that I want to do is I want to create that community. Like it's not just about
Yeah.
being on a show with you or selling a book or selling a course. Like it's not about that. For me, it's about people waking up and giving and serving to people, and
Yes.
also being human enough to be able to be served back. And that's what I think that keeps like
Yeah.
life going as humans. Like you look in the forest, like they're all like the trees are interconnected. They're all serving one another. Even the
Yeah.
fallen, they're still serving everything around them. And that's one thing that I want to do is I want to be that vessel because like I
Yeah.
need other people to give that to me too.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, it's reciprocal, but in the same token, I think that you are really blessing so many people, with your just the way that you handle things and the way that you really embrace people. And like you said in the very beginning, you love people and you love to connect with people. And with the work that you do, Tony, I know we only have a few minutes left, but I want to talk about the work that you do. I know you're a speaker and you're a podcaster and you are an author, which is very accomplished.
That
Um,
feels weird hearing that.
I know, right? Right? It
Yeah.
does, yeah. But what is it that you do? What is your life's work that you're doing now that you turn on that business
Mhm.
sign? What is that? What is it that you do?
Yeah. So I am walking people through the steps that I took to overcome not just my fear of public speaking, but my fear I had a fear of driving on the highway for a very long time.
Yeah,
And, it took me getting over that fear and saying positive affirmations to myself for 24 hours,
gosh.
going from my duty station back to my home,
Yeah,
telling myself, I can drive on the highway. I am gifted. I love driving on the highway, which fast forward 20 years from then to now,
yeah,
me driving on the highway that's my favorite pastime. It's where I go to escape. So I take them through that journey, the affirmations.
yeah.
I love on them. I mean, we get in the Zoom and we have conversations. We have phone calls as a group. People they
Yeah,
say some people they're afraid of sitting down for an interview. There's so many people that I've connected with that
yeah.
they sit down in an interview, they freeze up and they'll run out, or they won't even take the opportunity because they're afraid to speak in public meetings.
Right. Well, it's hard.
People,
It's not easy.
yeah, and
Yeah,
people meetings, just basically anything speaking in public. We sit down and we work on that. We do the affirmations, we do the work, we practice. That's a big part of what we do.
hmm,
We practice, we improve, we learn the art of communication, and it
yeah,
is a community. And those folks, they could reach out to me. Contact me, reach out to anybody in the community. Hey, I need you to listen to this. How does this sound? I just need some
yeah,
words of encouragement because that's what I do before every speech. I ask God to give me the words to say, and I also call my mentor, and he affirmed me. Hey, dude, you've been through this. You can do this, and that's
you can
helped me.
power through this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's helped me
yeah,
step on some of the biggest stages of my life, and that's what I'm doing. I'm offering that to the people.
yeah. So you're consulting, or would you call it coaching?
Yeah, I would
Oh,
I hate coaching now because it's like everybody's freaking doing it.
yeah. There are a lot of coaches
It's
out there. So,
yeah,
so how
it's
do
a
you gracefully
community.
say what you do?
It's Speak University,
Speak
speakuniversity.org.
University. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's good. Speak
and it's
University.
yeah, and it's classroom material. We have a digital university, so
Hmm.
they go through the modules. They can call, they can text me anything that they're confused
Oh,
about.
that's
I give them
awesome.
assignments throughout the week, and then we come together
Mhm.
bi-weekly to where I pour into that information. I pick one thing and we dive deep on it,
Yeah.
and or we might just practice, and or we might just freaking love bomb each other. But
Yeah.
it's a really good
Very
community.
supportive. It sounds so
Yeah,
supportive. Like there,
and
there are a lot of tools that,
yeah,
that are made available. And I work with speakers. I represent
ooh, yeah,
speakers. So and really it goes beyond speakers. It's CEOs and executives of companies. And you
Mhm.
and I both know that they're not born speakers. So that's where, I'm glad to know about your platform, because I might need to refer you some of the people that I've talked with that probably could utilize your services.
Yeah, and what
Yeah.
would be beneficial is the kind of like the graduation. I say graduation, but it's my gift to them
Uh-huh.
is they get to be on my podcast because we're not some
Oh,
corporate podcast. So I
yeah.
get to do whatever I want to do, and that's my
Good for
gift to
you.
them. We're a top 5 global podcast.
Wow.
Top 5.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
I
That's
appreciate
awesome.
it. Yeah,
Wow.
it's weird how it happened, but I let them go on it and they talk about whatever they want to talk and they can use that. Dude, look at me. I am a professional speaker. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Oh,
I
that
would
is
love to
so
support you
cool.
or anybody that will love to take advantage of that. And I want
Yeah.
to tell you thank you for what you're doing for giving speakers a megaphone because I think the work that you do is amazing. I wish I would have had
Thank you,
or been
Tony.
connected with you when I first started doing this. You're making an
Yeah.
impact. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I too love working with people. And I think what you're doing is just wonderful because it comes from the heart. And I want to know two things, and
Okay.
then we're gonna have to end the broadcast. But number one, how do people find your training? So where do they go?
Yeah, you can go to speakuniversity.org,
Okay.
speakuniversity.org. And
Speakuniversity.org.
yeah, and what you'll do is you won't necessarily get access to it, but you'll put in your information, and then I'll call you. I'll call the person. We don't have VAs or anything like that. I call the
They
person.
get you.
Yeah, I call the person,
Yeah,
and
that is
we just
fantastic.
yeah, and we just kind of work through it. Or you can reach out to me at TonyTaylorInspires.com. That's another way. Info@TonyTaylorInspires.com is my email. And yeah, I would welcome
And on
any and
LinkedIn
everybody.
too.
And on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is a good place to connect with you too, and they can send you a private message.
Yeah. Yeah. Send me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Tony, this has been so much fun. And I am so happy that we have this opportunity because you have been on, my list to interview for quite some time,
Oh,
and we
thank
made
you.
it happen. Yeah. So I appreciate it. And I would love for you to, number one, give your wife a shout out because you've mentioned her a few times. And being a wife myself, I mean, I would love for you to do that.
Oh, I will. I will. My wife, if you're watching, I know she's watching. She's always
Oh,
watching me. I want to tell you thank you for everything that you've done for me and our family. Thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you for the things that you're going to do because my wife is amazing.
Oh, that is fantastic. And we want to give her a shout out too. And, thank you again for being on the show. I have one last message. Arlie is still here. So she's 47, has a fear of public speaking, even though was professor for many years. I love the classroom, but fear large audience and adults. Thank you. I'd love to know more about your program. So we definitely want to make sure that that's in the show notes. So we definitely will, Arlie, when we end the broadcast. So we'll make sure it's in there so that you can find out more on Speaker University. And thank you for watching too. We appreciate that, and certainly follow Tony and send him a message. I think that you'll
That'd be
hear from
amazing. That would be
him. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tony, any last thing that you want to share with our audience before we end the broadcast?
I would just say, let's see. What do I think? What can God give me right now? I feel like no, I feel like genuinely, everybody in the world, everything has changed, and everybody's
Yeah.
gone through some changes. And I know, at least the people that I talk to in the hallways here in the building that we work in, and in our
Yeah.
neighborhood, everybody is struggling. They're overcoming something. So
Yeah.
for the viewers and the listeners, the things that you're overcoming it. That's going to be in the past. Your future is going to be so much brighter if you look back on everything else that you've had to endure to keep you alive. Like you're still here, you've overcame it, So you're going to get through it. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep believing in yourself, and just know that there's something really special inside of you. You just got to keep pulling it out. Keep working hard to pull it out. Thank you.
That's wonderful, Tony. Thank you. And again, you're gracing us with your words of wisdom. And, we thank you for your service, in the military. And we want to thank our audience for watching today. We know that I encourage you to go back and watch from the beginning if you're just now, tuning in, or you catch the tail end of it. Great interview with Tony Taylor. He is a podcaster. He's an author, and he's doing great work for people that have a fear of public speaking. So on behalf of Luminary Leaders Live, sorry, that's a tongue twister. My name is Luminary Leaders Live, and my guest, Tony Taylor. Again, we want to thank you for joining us. Take care and have a great day.